And Noreen used the laptop last week.
So come this way.
Going hot.
So we're back on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way. And this week we're having technical difficulties. But you know what? You live, you learn, and you grow, right? Right, Josh?
Yeah, definitely.
So come on close to
All
me
right.
so I can get, so people can see your beautiful face. You know, they don't need to see my face. They've seen my face often enough. Yes, so, and Josh has his hat on.
Yeah.
He's like,
I always wear the hat.
Yeah, you always wear the hat. Well, you know, people have their thing, right? I
Yeah.
always wear earrings, always wear jewelry.
Yeah.
You know,
I always wear my hat and my watch. I've always worn, if anybody is, I've told
And you
a
have
bunch
great hair.
I've been told that, and that's kind of why I'm growing it out.
Are you going to go long?
Yeah, probably.
That'd be cute.
Yeah.
That'd be real cute. So you started exercising, sprints, running, cold showers, getting up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
So something turned in you.
Yeah, I think it was just simply because I had heard about something called monk mode, which is basically, you just make your life not miserable, I guess, but just more difficult, and you need to kind of overcome certain challenges like getting up really early, taking cold showers, not eating as much sugar and stuff like that. So
Sounds like a good life.
yeah, and so I started to do that more and more, and I realized I could. One of the things that I actually struggled with the most of my entire life was just social anxiety, I'd say, and like
No.
and when I was younger, about 2 years ago, if I had told myself I'd be doing stuff like this, I never would have believed it.
Right.
I always wanted to be kind of just working in like a garage or like a basement or something, and then not really talking to people.
Really?
Yeah, I never really wanted to go
Socialize.
out there. Yeah.
Do you think I always call that like? Do you think you was experiencing Tina pause? That's what I call it. Like my neighbor's kid, her son went into that when he was going into his teens. He got very crotchety, didn't want to communicate, locked himself in his room, and so I just called it. He's having Tina pause.
Yeah, and it was just probably because when I was younger, I had difficulty, I remember one time I think I was like 13 and I was too shy to ask for, some guy gave me like a wrong amount of change at like a Dunkin' Donuts, and I was too shy to actually go and say, hey, I need an extra $1, so I just let it slide. And I remember that made me feel terrible, so
Right.
I was like...
Because it wasn't your inner self, it wasn't your true self.
Yeah, and then as I got older, I realized that I gotta start, pushing myself more.
Standing for yourself, yeah.
And one of the things I wanted to do is I wanted to join the army for that reason, and like really getting out of my comfort zone. But in order to kind of sort of prepare for that, in junior year I decided that I was going to do that, right? And so I'd kind of push myself more, and I never really like when I went to my barber the first time and I said, hey, because he gave me one haircut, I said, hey, I kind of like your haircut, and I like, I want to help you out, and I made you this site. I immediately thought he was just going to like say, no, go, what are you doing?
Right.
And then eventually he was a very nice guy. He was a very great guy. And he,
You just made him a site.
Yeah, I made him a couple of pages, and then I showed to him. It took about like a long weekend. It took like 2 days to make or something. And then I went up to him. I said, hey, Mark, your name. I said, hey, Mark, I have this site I made for you. I like your haircuts. I want to kind of help your business and grow your brand. And then he was like, okay, how much do you want for it? And then I didn't know what to pitch at that point. I didn't really expect to get that far. And so I said the first thing that came to mind, $50. Right. Very low price, but
it's a story to tell.
Yeah, I got my first client from him. I still get haircuts from him. He's a very great guy, and it just went from there. And I remember in the summer, I went to Vermont. I always go to Vermont, and most of the times before that, I had just really stuck to myself.
Right.
I didn't really talk to
anybody.
anybody.
Just existed.
Yeah, in that area of Vermont, I didn't really talk to anybody that was staying there or anything. And so that year, I remember I was going out of my way and just introducing myself to new people. And I remember the first person I met was these several older ladies. They were like 60 or 70.
Older ladies like you, don't they?
I have noticed that actually, but they were there, and so the first thing I noticed was that their feet were all pointed together, and so I immediately asked them like, "Hey, are you guys close?" Because that's a pretty apparently a nonverbal signal of just being like intimate or close or something like that. And so we chatted about that, and I realized, hey, I can do that. I can actually like approach random people, and so I started doing that more with other people my age. Started hanging out with other kids and stuff like that, and it made me realize like I can actually do this.
Right.
And last year, about this time exactly last year, September 28th, I started my company. I went from doing just trying to call people up saying, hey, can I do your website, to I want to do marketing.
Right.
And I learned this from one of my friends. I've known him since I was 6 months old. He was like my first friend, a year older. I thought of him almost as like an older brother.
Right.
And he had been running WordPress sites, saying, "Hey, I make $650 a month or something just running a site." And I was like, I want to do that.
Right.
I want to do something like that. And so he kind of told me, yeah, just do marketing, just do digital marketing. And then I was like, okay, what's that? I learned about SEO, which is, for those of you that don't know, it's search engine optimization, essentially ranking a site.
Which mine apparently sucks.
It's basically ranking a site for a specific keyword. So if you look up, a locksmith near me because you're locked out of your house, the first one is probably going to be the one that you call, or the first 2, 3, whatever results. So I thought, all right, I'm going to do that, right? Because like you can make okay money from that, seemingly $750. I heard people even made like $2,000 a month, and I was like, I can do that. And I knew about.
See, these were all young kids.
What?
Oh, these were all younger people. I shouldn't call them kids.
That were doing this stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, generally speaking, they're like 20, 23, 24.
Oh, okay, so older.
A little bit older, but still young people doing this. And so I thought, yeah, I'm going to do that. Right? I thought, and I got an internship. And I really have to say, Lila, this guy, David, he took me under his wing for a couple of months. I worked at Expressway Music, actually a couple blocks from the studio. And he took a chance on me, basically saying, yeah, we'll take you on as an SEO intern. I didn't know what that was, really.
You were just like, yes.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I can do something like that. And then I learned a lot about it on the job. And it was a great internship because it wasn't a traditional,
Go get some coffee.
Yeah, it was a very much like, it was just him. He had a project manager and then me. It was just 3 people in like this kind of a room, a small room, and I really enjoyed it. I would go there twice a week, and I'd be really excited to go and work there. Even during some times where I was feeling kind of bummed out from whatever, I've enjoyed working there.
So let me ask you a question. So here you are, right? You're having this issue in school with learning.
Yeah.
And where did in the SEO, did you experience any issues learning?
Like obstacles learning? Yeah, definitely. One of the things that I've always said is both an asset to me and a liability is just the fact that I have ADHD. And I know you've always preached that, don't let it, you can't let it define you, right? So, I've always thought of it like it helps me in many ways that I have I would say I have a decently creative brain, right? I can think of things.
That's the thing that ADHD people have.
Yeah.
They're super creative.
Yeah, and then there's also the problem that most of my life I've never finished anything that I started, and that's a big issue.
That's a big ADHD issue.
Yeah, and the part isn't so much that you don't finish it; it's after the fact that you feel kind of bummed out.
Right.
You feel a little bit like insecure and like I can't do this, and then that leads to some cases secondary depression.
Right.
And so, essentially, I felt a little bit of difficulty learning this stuff because when I first started, I was like, okay, well, I'm switching from web design to SEO. It's a bit, showing the signs again. But then I realized SEO and web design go very well together, right? If you know web design, you probably will it led me in naturally to the SEO industry just because you're working with websites. Right. And it helps that I know a fair amount of like more technical web work, back-end stuff, just because then it makes my job easier. Right. So I started doing that with my at the time, my boss. I showed him these results, and then he was like, well, I guess we can't do that. And I'd show him, okay, well, we can do it a different way, right? And he'd be like, wow, I never thought of it that way. And
so you see things really fast.
I see things, I wouldn't say not always fast. Things don't always come to me fast. Or some things come much faster than others. And then, because it's just, obviously, my brain is just a bit, I would say, even neurologically, a bit different than other, not maybe the average person, but from whom I've interacted with, I've seen that it's a bit different, right? And so obviously it has its ups and downs for that reason. But anyway, I was getting the first thing that I did that I can't believe I started doing was cold calling people.
Right.
Was
And talking.
Yeah, was talking to barbers. Immediately I get a decline because first of all, my pitch was terrible and my people were calling. They were New Yorkers. They didn't want to be bothered with anything.
Right, and they probably had no clue what you were talking about.
And I went to Stamford, Connecticut to speak with a prospect.
Right.
She was kind of interested in my social media marketing. It was like $40. She was like, "Yeah, I'll pay you $40 for you to come up and talk and consult with us." I took the train up, and it was like not the best trip I made. It was pretty
for $40.
Yeah, and it was really, but
it's a good experience.
Yeah, and so after that, I realized I couldn't join the Army because of a medical disqualification.
Right. Is it the ADHD?
That's one of it.
Right.
There's a couple of other things, but
it could be a saving grace.
Yeah. I thought that sometimes, obviously my parents had, they were doing their best to be supportive, but it is difficult to say, okay, we support a child going into the military.
Right.
But
I wouldn't have supported you.
But and then I realized, okay, I don't have any plans to go to college because I didn't apply.
Right.
I also didn't have any plans for the military. And the only thing I had was my business.
Right.
So I had to do that. I had to go with that.
Right.
And so I posted a couple ads on Craigslist.
We're gonna take a break and we'll come back.
Okay, great.
Wow. I want to get to the juice.
Yeah.
When you did actually learn your pitch, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Dorian's watching.
Do you run or are ready to open your own business? Hi, I'm Jeremiah Fox.
No, that's good. This is good. I'm glad you didn't go to the Army.
Yeah. So it depends on. I just thought of it for more the valor part of it and being part of something bigger than myself. But I remember I couldn't join, and then I said, I gotta keep doing this. And then after posting a few ads on Craigslist, I started getting people calling me. I realized I could do this. I got an elevator company, great client, still with him today, and
I'm sure you're charging him more than $50.
Yeah, more than $50.
And more than $2.
People say, "How much do you charge?" And I say, "Well, not enough."
Right.
I don't really give out the finances.
Right.
They're like, "How much money do you make?" Especially because that's like a kid thing.
Right.
Yeah, how much money do you make, Josh? How much money do you make? How much money have you made? Not enough.
Right.
I could make a lot more money, and
So we're back on Beyond Potential. Live life.
No, you're not.
Oh, we're not back. Oh, shoot.
It's a
I'm
commercial.
trying to get in there.
Rushing in.
Oh, we have to change that time.
Yes, I know. We have to re-record your commercial. It's also different music too.
I know. I got to get rid of that music. It sucks.
Yeah, get a new piece of music and then let's.
I will. I was supposed to speak to Aaron today about that.
Okay.
Maybe I'll just go buy a piece of music from somebody.
yeah, you can. There are people that
You
like
can find some stock music pretty cheap too.
like a couple bucks.
Going hot.
And we're back on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, and I'm with Joshua Conrad, my SEO genius. So go ahead. So you now are doing this SEO. You're actually learning that you can speak to strangers.
Yeah.
And that you don't have to be shy and reserved.
Yeah.
You're really into that, and that's like, and then you became a cold calling person.
Yeah.
Most people are afraid of cold calling.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people
don't like it.
Everyone is.
Right.
Everyone
And so you cold call, and now your clients are. You still work with barbers?
No, I stopped working with the barbers. I don't necessarily. I don't bill him because if he hits me up and he says, "Okay, I need an image change," yeah, I'll do it. It takes like 5 minutes. I don't care. But I work now with a large elevator company, and the owner is a great guy. He's an amazing guy. I am sometimes shocked that he still uses me to this day. He's just a great guy.
Why not? Why wouldn't he use you?
I don't know. I just feel that there's some times where in the past when I first started at least I didn't know if I could provide this value, but then I eventually did. I started ranking his site for more of these keywords. We got him about It was like 700,000 in revenue from just the SEO alone, from the leads he was getting. And so, then after that, after I graduated, I think that's just shortly after I had first met you, I got these calls coming in from different networking groups I attended.
So let me share with people. So here's Josh. He goes from an individual that doesn't want to talk to people and wants to live in a basement and work in a basement where he doesn't have to interact with people, to a person that challenged himself and went to Connecticut and took on talking to people that he'd been seeing for years.
Yeah.
Then he started working in the field of SEO, and it was like, it's literally like, when you're a kid and you go, oh, I can do that. And you just went and did it, right?
Yeah.
And then you worked with your barber. You created pages for your barber, and you were afraid that he was going to reject them.
Yeah.
Right? So now you're actually working with a huge company, elevator company.
Yeah.
And you helped him to raise like thousands of dollars in revenue.
Yeah.
And so your level of communication and feeling comfortable with yourself and accepting yourself, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you say that is now?
I'd say it's about, not 10 yet, obviously, but about 8 or 9. It's getting there. I'm really comfortable being who I am. Right. But obviously, every now and then I have, doubts, reflective moments, as I like to call them. It's just, there's times where I sit down, or I might be on in the shower, or I might be on the train, and I just think. I don't listen to any. I just kind of think, okay, what could I maybe change a little bit, right? There's something. I'm becoming more mindful, I guess. Some short meditation moments, and then just figuring out what can I do to change from that.
So let's ask the question. So you're 18 now. I'm stuck on 17. Probably that's my age. I'm like 16. But so just give yourself 5 years. Where would you say you'd like to be in 5 years?
Yeah. So, I do like what I do in terms of marketing. It's something that I enjoy, but it's not something I would say I'm passionate about. Right? I like doing it. It's a great thing. I'm glad I'm able to do it, and I'm really, really happy with the people I work with. I also do want to extend the reach. So something that I've kind of left a little bit until recently was the fact that I'm very much into languages. Okay. And so I've always loved languages. In high school, I studied Russian. I think, at the end of 8th grade, I started, end of middle school, I saw a Law & Order episode where they had Cyrillic alphabet, on something, and then I thought, I want to learn that language. And so I studied about 8 months studying Russian.
So do you speak Russian now?
No, not very well. I can read some. I was able. My pronunciation was terrible, but then I started studying other languages like Yiddish, Hebrew, Arabic, Farsi, Bachto, more Japanese, and all these other languages. So in the future, I want to get involved with language learning and integrating technology and stuff like that to help people learn a language better. Because there's a lot of programs, if anyone's out there in the language community, there's a lot of different programs and methods you can use to study. But I want to build not just that, but more so of a community of that, building the actual platform for language learning and further education. So that's something that I've always been interested in doing.
And what do you like to do for fun?
So a very, very wide range of things. And some of them,
I know you like to travel a lot.
I do like to travel. I don't necessarily have the money to travel everywhere.
You can build it.
Yeah, that's what I hope to do, and that's what I aim to do. But I like to explore as much as I can.
Do you still live at home?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I plan to move out to Vermont, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I plan to move out at the end of...
Why Vermont?
I've loved it. I've been there every summer. I love the atmosphere. I love the people. Because surprisingly, in Vermont, despite it being very white, I don't get looks by local Vermonters.
No, I like Vermont myself. People are friendly.
Yeah, and they never really notice. I mean, obviously they notice it, but they never really seem to care. Right. I've been invited to some guy's dinner.
Too busy eating ice cream.
Yeah, and so they're very friendly people. Right. I got invited to someone's dinner once when my car had a little bit of an accident. Someone said, "Hey, do you need a place to stay or whatever?" I was like, "No, I'm fine." But he was very friendly. He was like, "No, come in. We're having chicken." I went in for a minute to use the bathroom, and then I thought that I gotta live here. I gotta live in this state, and everywhere in that state, it's like that, or at least what I've.
Do you ski?
I don't ski. I want to. I need to learn to ski, especially if I'm gonna live in Vermont. Right. But I want to. I like exploring. So one of the things I really like to do is bushcrafting.
What is that?
It's primitive camping.
Oh.
So
Okay,
basically
share more. Please tell me.
going into the wilderness and
Is that more of like the basement, but it's just out in the wilderness?
somewhat. It's basically me going out to different state parks, building a fire, shelter, just connecting with nature more. I don't really go on my phone much. I don't really do anything like that stuff. And then I just, I fish, I eat by like a fire. Sometimes it's miserable, right? Some people you get this image that it's like all nice and stuff, but no, sometimes it's really bummy.
Right.
Like, it's really bummy sometimes because it's really cold and you're never warm, and it's just miserable. But
it's dirty.
Yeah, but at the end you feel kind of not enlightened, but you just feel better. You feel like, wow, okay. When I go back on the train ride back home, I'm like, wow.
How long do you do that for?
So I do that for about a night. I want to do more. My goal is to just do the Appalachian Trail, with just basically a knife, and that's pretty much it.
Do you know people die out there?
Yeah, I do, and that's what I want to do. I want to take that risk and do that.
Do you know people die out there and go missing and their bodies are not found for months and months and sometimes years?
Yeah, and then there's some people that do it and then they come out on the other side.
But why would you want to go by yourself?
That's the thing. Despite, overcoming, I'd say, social anxiety, or at least becoming better at it, I would definitely say I'm introverted. Not so much in that I'm shy around people anymore, but more that I get tired.
Right. You don't get your energy from people.
I like being alone. I like just, sometimes when I was little, I used to just be in my room and play with toys and stuff and just figure out how something would work, just like for hours. And I just like that feeling. I like connecting with people. I like talking with people. It's great, but I just get tired.
After a while, you get burned out. I get that. I get
so
that.
being in the wilderness too, you start to really. It's really much like you have to push yourself. You have to.
I'm worried that you're going to turn into like the wilderness, like a long-haired person like out there in the wilderness, haven't spoken to anybody for years.
No, I mean, when you do the Appalachian Trail, there's lots of communities, there's people that are also doing it, because there are also crazy people out there that do that.
But you're not going to just do the Appalachian Trail with a knife.
There are some people that have done that. They're not with just a knife, but they've done it with basically a knife, flint and steel, and like minimal gear. Just because you then learn, obviously I don't want to do this.
It's like survival.
I don't want to do this obviously tomorrow and prepare for it, but that's something I want to do. But other things I genuinely like doing are, reading about anything. So from languages, I love learning languages. It's one of my favorite things to do.
Right.
And I also really like to study whatever. So
you're a lifelong learner. So this is something that you feel that you're going to be doing for the.
Yeah.
What about like social life? What do you do things that the average 17-year-old does? I'm just looking at what I did at 17 was like party.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go dancing.
I've been to parties before. One thing about them, I will say, because I'm more introverted, I'm okay with being in a party. I don't really care so much. It's not I'm not like, oh, let's go to a party.
Right.
I'll go if someone invites me, or a gathering or whatever. I just get tired after like 5-10 minutes. I just like, dude, I want to be home sometimes.
Right.
But I do have, I have a lot of great friends who I hang out with. And obviously, in my high school, I did everything any high school, smoking weed, drinking, causing trouble. So, yeah.
No. Is that what you do in high school?
So, I mean, I still, I still hang out with friends. We still do crazy stuff sometimes.
Right.
And then, but I also then have to balance it out with a business side that I am, one of the biggest sacrifices I made was that
yes,
I will, I know that I won't have the amount of freedom, or not freedom, but more, I won't have the same opportunities as people that have gone to college.
So why did you say that?
What I mean by that is it's not the same opportunities, but I have to take a very different path and very different choices. Where obviously in college, it's not too hard, I would assume, obviously I don't know, I'm pulling this stuff out of my ass for that. I didn't go to college.
Yeah, but you don't want to go to college.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you don't want to go to college, then don't go to college.
Yeah, exactly.
And here you are, you're like 18. You might want to try it on later on. I didn't go to college until I was 27.
Exactly. So, I've always said, to my parents, maybe 5 years down the line, I might decide to be an engineer. I don't know. I really don't know. But right now, it's not for me. But one of the sacrifices I made was that, you don't live that college life or whatever, and sometimes
Well, you just do life differently.
Yeah. And sometimes, I'm like, okay, well, they're having fun, partying. I kind of got to get up early at 6 a.m. to talk with people. And obviously, I make ways around, socialize with people, go to different groups and stuff and gatherings.
I'm going to do that one break. We're going to take a break and we'll come right back.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to do, like, Bill Gates didn't go to college.
Yeah, exactly.
Did Jobs go to college?
Well, Gates went to college for 2 years and then left. Jobs went to college, I think, also for like a year or two.
Yeah. There's obviously.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that, it's just not for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And that's why.
But the difference is now is tons of colleges are offering free classes online. So you can literally take a college curriculum for free online these days.
Yeah. And that's what I plan on doing for like things like psychology, whatever I can think of.
Right. And then you can travel.
Yeah, exactly. That's the dream.
Right, just travel. I would say if I was 17 again, I mean, I did travel myself, but like, I would definitely do it consciously and just try. Are you taking a hat off?
Yeah.
It's getting hot.
Yeah, it's too hot for that. I have it on usually for the first half of something, like at any gathering, and then after a while I just take it.
Because it's bloody hot.
Yeah, and the winter it's great, and that's why I'm really happy. When I was in Japan, it was really hot, and I was just wearing like a short sleeve. I like wearing long sleeves. I like wearing, hats.
I know, you're insulated.
Yeah.
Nice. Oops. So what about like dating and stuff like that?
I haven't been that active in that lately, just simply because I have other things I'm focusing on. Obviously, I do, want to get into that, but not in the next few months. I really want to get to one thing at a time.
So where do you want to take it?
Ready? Going hot.
And we're back on Beyond Potential, Live Life Your Way, and I'm speaking to Josh Conrad. What makes Josh Conrad so special that I would speak to him? He's 18 years old and he's living his life the way he wants to live it. And he did not allow teachers and their conversations about his learning ability to impact his life. He chose his own path, he's walking his own road, and I'm so proud of him for doing that. Because literally you could have taken that on what they said and it could just cripple your life, but you challenge yourself. So I think you're here for something big.
I hope so. I really hope so.
Because you're not doing normal things. I did pull up on the internet today, and I found that they had the top 5 young people that were running successful businesses. The youngest 3 of them, one of them was 11, and 3 of them were 13. It was two brothers, 11 and 13. They were running, I think it's a cookie company or something like that. Another 13-year-old was running a cookie company. An 11-year-old was running she was making cookies or lemonade. She had a lemonade, like a real business, making real money. And then the top guy was 30 years old, and he was running a venture capitalist company. Right. So there are a lot of young people out there that are actually doing their own businesses, creating their own. I think they're like old people in young people's bodies, actually. Do you ever feel like that? Like you've been here before?
No, I can't say I have. No, everything.
So how do your parents feel about you doing your own business?
Well, I very much have to thank them for being very supportive. I've been very fortunate to be, placed with very, my whole life, very caring and supportive parents. And I know at times it can be difficult because sometimes, you have a child and they come up with crazy ideas. It's kind of, you have to force yourself sometimes to see eye to eye with that. And so I'm very thankful that, they've been quite supportive of what I do.
What's the craziest idea that you've ever come up with that they're like, oh my God?
Oh, there have been lots of them. I can't really pinpoint some.
But they just let you get on with it.
Yeah, my father has been very good. My mother, I can relate to in terms of spontaneity a little bit more because she studied a bunch of weird languages. She's worked in many different industries. So I relate with that more. My father is much more of like a rigid, or not kind of more structured. Yeah. And so, the two of that combined,
balance.
Yeah, it is a very good balance, and I'm very thankful.
What did your father do?
So my father actually, he's a professor.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he's a professor, and my mother, She does more IT kind of support. She worked in so many different industries, but I tell them like, oh,
you're a combination of both.
In some ways, I guess. And my mother, or I sometimes tell my mom and dad like, hey, I want to start a garbage cleaning business, or like I want to start like a ATM business, or something really weird. Sometimes they're like, get serious. What are you talking about? And then obviously I don't take that as like a
put down.
Yeah, because first of all, if I want to do it, I will do it, right? If I really want to do something, I'm going to do it.
Right.
But then sometimes, it does get a bit, okay, I probably wouldn't want to anyway for certain things, obviously. There's some things like building, right now I'm actually working with a close friend of mine in developing kind of a small app, very, very much in development. But, I kind of want to do that, and then along with my current company.
Is it because you want to do it so you see how far you can take it? It's like
that's one of the things. Yeah, that's definitely one of the things that I want to do is see how far I can go in life. And I forgot there's a proverb that was don't wish for an easy life, but wish for the strength to endure a difficult one. And that's one that I just really, really like. It's always stuck with me.
Right.
And so I want to.
So you like the challenges of life.
Yeah, I very much like taking on a challenge and just seeing how far I can go with it.
Right.
Right. My mother is a bit more. Every mother is very protective over their child, right? And so she'll say, if you have some sort of issue, you have to have like a whole map of plans of how to get it right, because obviously we worry about a child, right? And in my mind, I always think like, okay, if I lose my phone and wallet and everything in like the middle of like Kansas City, I know I have to find a way back home.
Oh, absolutely.
I have to do, and I'm going to. It's not a different whether or not. I'm going to.
Right.
I could lose everything, and I need to be able to feel confident enough that I could get back okay.
Right.
Yeah, and so I like doing those kind of challenges, whether it's being alone or very much spontaneity. I very much say I'm a spontaneous person.
But I would say that you're a spontaneous person only because you have plans. Because a person that doesn't have any plans can't be spontaneous. They just don't have any plans.
Yeah.
Because most people understand it that way.
Yeah, and there are some people that I've known who are like that, right? And people my age, obviously, when you're about 18, 17, you don't really think about, not every kid's thinking about building up a business.
Right.
But then there's some kids that I've noticed that don't really have much of a sense of direction. And, I don't really feel like one to judge that, but then there's some kids that are really losing direction and kind of dig themselves into like a rabbit hole and get stuck there. And I've always said, I want to avoid that. I want to always feel like I'm living life. And, obviously there's sometimes throughout the day where certain negative thoughts do appear, as with everyone else, right? But then, I remind myself that I'm living.
You're alive now.
Yeah. I'm alive. And
so what is the, do you want to have children? Are you interested in any of that stuff?
So.
Do you see yourself with that?
I've seen myself in and out of being a father. It feels weird to think that I would have children that are
One
like
day.
me. Yeah. And also just because...
You probably have children that are more like you, but 2.0, 3.0 of you.
Yeah, and that would be kind of scary sometimes. Sometimes thinking like that. Like I would have... That would be kind of scary is that...
But you'd handle it, just like your parents are handling it.
Yeah, but I would be scared knowing that there's somebody as crazy as I am.
That's why I didn't have children.
And then... as also some half of someone from someone else.
Right.
So it would be kind of a weird mix for me in my mind. But then I thought about it, like, I could see myself possibly adopting a child, kind of doing what I did, if it would happen to me.
Right.
And then, but the thing about that is that it becomes quite limiting, right? If you have a child, because you're taking a different life. You have a child.
But it doesn't have to be limited. I mean, but I'm sure, so many things have happened within my lifetime. So many changes have happened. So many people have done, like I have a friend that she had a child and she strapped the baby to her back and she was traveling the world with the kid.
Yeah.
Right? Now the kid's like this big time fashion model. Right? And she wanted to be a teacher when she was 5.
Yeah.
But it just works out.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't even put that in for me, I would just say enjoy yourself. Enjoy your life. And just put yourself, have the experiences. I was at Abraham Hicks this weekend. I don't know if you know about Abraham Hicks. It's an entity. It's a woman that speaks through an entity that speaks through this woman. And one of the things that they were saying is like we're here to have experiences. So the more experiences that we have, the better for us. And if we're having an experience and it's no longer working, leave it alone. Don't sit and suffer with it. Let it go and get on to the new experience, the one that's going to move you forward and have you enjoy. Because her thing is like we're here to experience life and have a good time and enjoy ourselves. But what happens is we lose focus, we get stuck, and we don't believe that we deserve or can have what we say we want.
Yeah, and I've noticed that as you get older, you know, there's a lot of emphasis on money and like responsibility. And I've always tried to keep that childish, playful mentality of like, yeah, if I lost all my money, I'd be really bummed for a while. But I also I like to think that, okay, well, I'll still have my hands, still have my feet. I'll be okay, physically speaking. And that's a very stoic mentality, which I've adopted very much. Is stoicism, right? And stoicism and more philosophy of like living and like understanding that yes, things do come to an end, right? But you enjoy the time while being around, and that, you know, being okay with the fact that things will die. Yeah, one day you will die, and one day you will pass on. To, you know, be accepting of that. Right,
and just like we're gonna get dead in a minute. So we're gonna take a break and we'll come right back. Oh, we don't need to take a break. We got 3 minutes to the end. Yeah. So where can people find you, Josh?
So if anybody's interested, my website is jcsurge.com. And I have, you know, my Instagram tag is @joshua.ct. So if anybody wants to reach out, you know, you can either email me at joshct@jcsurge.com or hit me up on Instagram or whatever, really. You know, if you search up Joshua Conrad, you'll probably find me. There's not many Joshua Conrads out there.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm more than happy to speak with anybody about anything. I've had people call me for weird reasons, like people wanting advice on like starting a kitchen remodeling business, and I said, you know, I don't know anything about that. And so, you know, okay, I don't know how you got this number, but, you know, I'm more than happy to kind of, you know, answer any questions that I can answer. Right. So I'm very open with people.
And what would you tell an 18-year-old today? What advice would you give an 18-year-old?
That nothing matters, and that you can see that in two ways. You can either see that as like, oh, nobody cares, it's like a gloomy way, or that, you know, it's like a sandbox. You can just create whatever you want, really. Right. And to just, if you have that playful mentality, just keep going with it, and you will find something that kind of fits, and to get comfortable with that.
Right. Yeah. Right. So in the words of Joshua, enjoy your life. Find what fits. Life is a sandbox, and you should play in it.
Yeah.
And build whatever you want to build. So
fun.
Josh, I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. I think you're amazing. I am so impressed with you. I think you're wonderful. And I wish you were my son, but I wouldn't. So thank you for coming to the show. And this is Noreen Sumpter signing off from Beyond Potential. Live life your way. Bye. That was great, Josh. Thank you.
I'm